And we are live. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. This is going to be an informative call. We are going to do some live funnel building in high level. I have the step by step ready, and we'll get started in a minute. All right, so let's start. Hopefully, you also have a cup of coffee. Here's mine. And this call is going to take about, I would say, 40 to 45 minutes. We are going to build a live funnel inside high level. This is mainly for my school members, so I was waiting for some guys to join from the school group because in my paid school community, $19 per month, I give away an empty sub account, and then some of the new members, had the question of, okay, how do I actually build out an automation, a funnel? So this is going to be available inside the school group, so you can rewatch it anytime when you are stuck, and I'll probably make a bite-sized edits of this long video. So if you are stuck specifically on funnel building or calendar creation or buying a domain, you'll be able to rewatch all of these. So just a quick screen share of the school group. I've been active for about the last year. I've been active on school. You can see the activity count is really, really all over the place. I missed around 4 days where I was not active. And in this time period, I built the free group to almost 600 members. I think by the next week, we'll have the 600 member mark. And then I started building the paid group recently. So inside the paid group, you get for 19 per month, you get a free high level sub account that's included. So that's alone $97 per month. You also get a one-on-one onboarding call with me to set up your ad plan. And then you get meta ad and high level strategies as well. And also weekly coaching calls. And then, of course, the bonuses, over 50 funnel templates, my exact reporting templates, and more. So this is how the classroom looks like. And then here's the setup guide for the high level sub account I'm giving you. This video is going to be in that classroom section. And then the high level courses and everything else. Also in the calendar, we have the weekly live calls, and we also have some calls coming up this week. I have one for high level updates and also one, let me just search calendar, and also one for your meta ad strategy for 2026. So that's all going to be helpful. Here are the calls. So tomorrow we have a live call for the latest high level updates. And then Friday as well for the meta ad strategies. So now that we got all of that out of the way, let's start inside high level. So this is my agency account. And okay. So this is my agency account, and whenever someone joins the school group, I'm going to create a sub account which is going to be empty. So for the sake of this video, I created a new sub account. It's this one with the no name. So it's an empty sub account, no domains, nothing inside. So when I create it, I'm going to set it up for you and add you as a user to this sub account with an email. So I have my email account open, and then this is the email that you receive to activate your account. And then if you click inside, you see your account details. So here's my logo. You can click here to log in, and then you have your data, your email. And if you click login, it's going to take you to app.wupscale.com. And then here you can set up a new password that you are going to be using with this new sub account that you got. So let's create something. It has to have an upper and lowercase characters as well, at least 8 characters long, and it has to include some numbers or symbols as well. So let's create something strong. Let's make sure they match. And then once you change the password, you are going to be able to log in. Nice, great to meet you. So let's continue to log in. So this is going to be the sign up page. I suggest you bookmark this so you don't lose it, and you can come back to this anytime. I just bookmarked it. I have my email. Let's set up the password. And sign in. So it's going to send a security code to your email address. Let's send it. Go back to my emails. Let's wait for this to arrive here in the primary box. I have the number. Let's go back, paste. And then it's getting our new sub account ready. All right, so here's the dashboard. Of course, these numbers are just for show because it's an empty sub account. It doesn't have any data yet. But this is how it's going to look like once you have leads coming in, opportunities coming in. So let's go back to the guide and let's look at the step by step. So the first step should be, you should have an offer ready for your business. So if you are creating a high level sub account, you should know that, okay, maybe I have an accounting firm and I want to offer a free call to anyone who joins, who lands on this website, and I'm giving a free call, a free consultation. So that's going to be my offer. And then on the free consultation, I'm going to upsell them to a paid service. Let's say that's the offer. In my case, I'm going to do this, a free consultation, because usually that's the easiest way to start. So the offer is going to be free consultation to upsell. And then we are going to set up users, create a calendar so they can actually book a time with you. Then we are going to buy a domain, set up a funnel with your domain. We are going to connect the funnel and the domain, so it's actually going to be on the internet. Then we are going to create some basic automations, so follow-ups, emails, and then we are going to create a metapixel. We are going to connect the metapixel, and then last step, we are going to test and make sure everything's working correctly. But something I forgot is going to be, before creating the automations, is creating a pipeline. So I'll explain what a pipeline is. Let's start with the users. So we are in the sub account. We have all of these steps, but what really matters is you have your business profile. Once you go to the settings, and then currently it's the data when what I set. I set this data when I was creating the sub account. So you need to change this. You need to change the business name, your street address. So we'll make sure we have the correct information. For the sub account, I use it to promote my actually my name. So my domain is going to be Mate Hunyor as well. So I named the business Mate Hunyor as well. And then for the address, I just leave as is for now. And I'm going to update the information. And I'll also update the phone number to make sure it works. I am not even sure which country this is. And then let's go to my profile. So this is where you can add users. So currently this is my personal data. I'm the only user in this sub account. I have my email. And if I go to my staff, you'll see that I'm the only user here. But if you have a VA or you have a appointment setter or a sales guy that you want to add, you can click add user. And then you can enter their first name, their last name, their email address. And then the same way that I showed you, they are going to receive an invite to join your sub account. For now, I'll just leave it empty. I'm going to be the only admin on this sub account. So let's go back. And then the next step is going to be creating a calendar. So we are going to set up when we are available. So for this, we have to go to the left side and select calendars. And let's go to calendar settings. And then here, I suggest you enter. So it's going to give you some step by step. Okay, we can go next. You can share your calendar. You have the troubleshooting options and then the more options. Pretty easy to navigate. I suggest you go to the connections first and then you add a calendar. So your Google Calendar is going to be connected to your GoHighLevel calendar. So maybe you have a dentist appointment coming up in your calendar, but you didn't set it inside GoHighLevel, but now it's going to see inside your Google Calendar and it's going to mark those times busy. So they can't book a call with you while you have the dentist appointment. So I think it's important to connect these. You can just click add new and then you can select Calendly if you have Outlook, but I just use Google Calendar. So let's connect. And I'll make sure to select the email, the same email that I'm using for the sub account. So it's going to be the second one. Let's continue. We agree to everything. Let's continue. And then we have the first connection ready. We have the green check mark. It's all good. You see we have the linked calendar and it's going to be checking for conflicts. So same example as the dentist. Next, we'll have to go back to, let's go to availability first. So this is for you, for your users. If you have a sales guy added previously, you can select him here, but now it's just me. So you have to select the times that you are available. The basic setup is from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. But since it's my full-time business, I'm doing calls basically all day. So I'm going to change this until 10 p.m. Let's change every day to 10 p.m. And you also have the options to do calls on the weekends. Currently, I just set it for the weekdays. And you can also add date-specific hours. So let's say we have Christmas coming up, of course. You can select that on the day of Christmas, you are going to be unavailable. And then you can just submit. Or maybe next week. So again, add a date-specific hours. Next Monday, I have an appointment, I know I'll be busy in the morning, so I can just set that I'm going to be available from 2 p.m. only. And then I also have, maybe I have a dinner in the evening, so only until 5 p.m. So I'll save. And then for next Monday, I'm only available between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. So you can come back to this, change it anytime, and then you can select on which calendar these times are going to be active on. So for me, it's going to be my personal calendar. So let's save the changes. And now that we have the availability set, the connection set, we can go back to calendars. And then here's your personal calendar. This is what we are going to use inside the website. Let's go inside and make some edits just to make sure everything's working well. So for example, to the calendar logo, you can drop your business logo or your face. I can actually upload from system and then try to search for an image. I think I just created an image with AI last week. Yeah, these images with the Christmas hat. Let's see if I can use this. Maybe the size is too big for this to be used because it's not uploading. So the max dimensions are 180 by 180. So you can probably use Canva to design it. Let's try with another image. Oh, here's one image. So I can make it a circle, but it's a bit distorted. So it's not using the correct size. So I actually just remove it and then we can design one in Canva, but it's not too important. So the calendar name is my personal calendar, but we can change it. So let's say we change it to free consultation and we add a description that so this is going to be specific to your industry. For me, I'm doing ads, Meta ads. I have a group on Meta ads, so I'm going to say that, hey, we are going to set up your personalized ad plan. And then we have a custom URL, which looks pretty strange. So we can update it for a free consultation. Maybe let's do Mate Junior free consult. And then the meeting invite is going to be the title that's going to be inside the calendar. So contact name is when someone books a call with you. And then I'm just going to add X Mate Junior. So if maybe Steven is going to book a call with me, it's going to be Steven X Mate Junior. So he knows what this is. But I can also add free consult. And then I'm going to be the assigned member. If you have a sales guy, again, this is where you can add him. The meeting location, for me, I prefer Google Meet. And then you can add the color that is going to use inside your calendar. Let's try with a green. And that's all we need to do on this page. So let's make sure we save it. And then let's go to availability. So we can select a form if we want to ask any questions before booking the call. Maybe I'm interested in their monthly revenue or their business website. I can ask for this. So you can select a form. By default, it's going to collect the first name, last name, email, phone, and notes. And then the form is going to be in order. So either first they can select a date or time, or they can fill out the information. What I like to do is this order. So they select the date and time. And then once they select the date and time they want to have the call on, they need to confirm the appointment by filling out the form. And then you can add a consent checkbox that, yeah, I confirm that I want to receive promotional messages, contact from this company. Mm, I suggest you also switch on pre-populate fields. So sticky contacts, this is basically going to remember their email address and their name. And then the thank you message is going to be thank you for your appointment request. We'll contact you shortly to confirm. And then please call our office. I'm actually going to remove this. And then you can also add the metapixel ID, but we don't have it yet. So we'll just save. And then for the notification, oh, it jumped to customization, but this is good. I usually don't change any images or any, button text is going to be scheduled meeting. This is all good. Notifications is you can select the meeting invite notes, have the rescheduling, the canceling, the contact, and you can allow cancellation of the meeting. So let's say they can cancel up to 4 hours before the call or 5 hours. And then they can reschedule 10 hours before the meeting. Because you are going to be getting ready for this call, you need to know your schedule for the day. So if it's only 8 hours to the call, they can no longer reschedule. Maybe they can cancel up until 5 hours before the call. And then here is where you can set up some notifications. So let's save and set these up. So you can get an appointment booked confirmation. I suggest you use an email. So go to email, enable, and then the contact is going to receive a booking appointment. So this is the email that they are going to get. Hi, contact name. We receive your appointment. Here are the details. And you can select where it's going to come from. And then you can also add the assigned user. So you remember I was the assigned user because I added myself earlier. So I'll also get an email saying, hey, a new appointment has been requested by name. Please review the details. And then this is how it's going to look like. So for now, we'll just save it. And then we'll also get, once they confirm, we'll get a notification. So again, I'm going to turn off in-app, and then we are going to, only the assigned user is going to get an email once they confirm the appointment. So let's save this. And once we are testing, we'll go through all of these. Cancellation, you'll also get an email once they cancel the call. So both the contact and the assigned user is going to get a call or an email, sorry, that the meeting was canceled. Reschedule, let's set the same. Let's make sure we are getting emails. So let's enable both the contact and assigned user. Reminder, so we want to send a reminder before the call. So let's go to edit. Let's enable the emails. Let's go to contact, and we want to send a reminder maybe 30 minutes before the appointment starts. And it's going to be a upcoming appointment. And the assigned user, which is us, is also going to receive an email, and make sure this is also 30 minutes before the appointments. And here you can also go to SMS. So you get a text message before the call starts. And for this, I suggest 10 minutes and 10 minutes for the contact as well. So they will get reminded 30 minutes in email and then 10 minutes before on their phone. So just make sure they don't miss the call. And then that's all I'm going to set. Let's make sure to save. And then we have the calendar set up. So let's go back to calendars. And then we are going to add some steps that we did. So add connections. And then another checklist item is going to be add availability, and then setup. Set up the notifications. All right, now that we have a calendar and people can actually book with us, we'll need a domain for our website to be hosted on. So let's go back to GoHighLevel. And then now we are already in the settings. So just 1 second. On the left side, we need to look for domains. So we have domains and URL redirects. Let's click here. And then we need to connect a domain. But since I don't have an existing domain, I need to purchase one. So I'm going to purchase inside GoHighLevel. Let's search for a domain name. So I'm interested in matejunior.com. Let's search for this. So it's available. Usually the price that you are going to get is around $12 per year, which is a steal. So let's make sure it's correct. Yes, I'm going to buy this. And then if you want to transfer in a domain, I have another video on how to do that. But for now, I'm just going to buy. You can buy for 7 years, 5 years, but I just do 1 year for now. Let's agree to the terms and conditions and go to pay. All right, so we have the domain purchased. It was quite easy. And let's wait for this to load so we can refresh the page. So it's still loading. We can come back to this later when we are setting up the funnel. So now we need to go back and go to sites. So this is where actually we are going to have the website. You can set up webinars, blogs, you can host websites, but the easiest is just setting up a funnel. So let's create a new funnel. You have a couple options. You can design from blank, which is the hardest. I don't suggest it. You can design with AI. So if you have an explanation of your business or maybe a branding guide, you can just paste it to the AI and it's going to create a nice website. But for me, I'm just going to select a template. So here we have all the templates. You can filter the templates. For me, I'm interested in the most popular ones. And then you can filter by niche, financial, business, consulting. And then since I'm interested in giving a free consultation, I'm actually going to select the business coaching and consulting. And then let's see how these look. This one already has the calendar. Super simple. So we have 89 templates here. Yeah, these ones look great. I'm actually kind of lost on which one I should use. I want something with the white color, something lighter. Let's clear the filters and then let's look at some of the most recent ones that were added. So this looks like a finance app. This is a coding framework. This one is pretty simple. I think this has a free consulting. Yeah, actually, I like this one. So let's do a preview. Or maybe this one, we can do a preview. And then we can see how it's going to look like on desktop or on mobile as well. How well it's optimized. To be honest, it looks quite nice. It has the menu at the top. We can replace this button with the call now, call to action, and it's a pretty simple one. So let's start with this one. Let's choose template. And then we are moving on to the next step, which is going to be setting up the funnel. So it's setting up inside GoHighLevel. All right. So now we are inside the GoHighLevel funnel builder. This looks maybe a bit scary, but I promise you it's simple to handle. So basically we have all these different steps. We have the navigation menu at the top, and then you can click into any element. For example, if you want to change the headline, just click inside, and then on the right side, you'll have the options. So you'll see the element name is headline. You can change the font weight, the background color, and you can change the text by just selecting it and just changing it to Brooke, a free consultation. And let's say we don't want a navigation menu. Maybe we want just a super simple landing page. We don't want to distract them by adding use cases or testimonials. So we can just remove it. For now, the only goal with this funnel is to get them to book a call. So we are going to replace all the buttons. So currently it's get started for free. Let's change it to book your free session. And then we are going to look for any other buttons, and then we are going to update the text. So let's scroll through the landing page. Here's another button. We replace the text. Book your free session. And now we can see that this is quite a long landing page. We have the footer or the policies as well. So if we want to super simplify it, we can just remove this part, and then we can remove all the parts that we don't need on the website to make it shorter. So I'll keep this one at the top, and then let's see if this can be updated with a different image. I think I'll leave this one. You can add some logos here. For example, previous customers or clients you had. I'll remove it. I don't need this. But if you want to re-add it, let's say, oh, I decided maybe I want to add the logos back. On the top left corner, you have the option to add elements. It's a plus icon. And then you can go to pre-built sections. And then you have lots of options. So you have an about section, which is going to be an introduction about you. You can, for example, do an FAQ, the frequently asked questions, or you can go to partners. And then this is going to be the same that we just deleted. So you can add back the logos. You can just drag and drop. So now we had it back. You can again change the logos if you want, or there are some other options. You can go to quick add, and then you can search for logo showcase. And then it's going to be a bit easier, and it also looks better on the design because the logos are moving. And then you can just go inside, change the logo, and you can just scroll down, select the image, and you can upload a new logo, and you can just replace it inside. But for now, we don't need it. Let's look at the other sections. So this is where we definitely don't need this image. So this is where it's great if you have an existing business plan already. And you can also use AI to create the landing page text for you. So I have the paid version of ChatGPT. And then what's super great is you can have this option to send a voice message to ChatGPT. I can't do it now because I'm using the microphone for the call, but otherwise you can do it and then explain to the AI that, hey, I have this business. This is my experience. This is my clients that I work with. And then this is the goal that I'm going to achieve for my customers. My current offer is giving them a free consultation. So I need a landing page copy for a simple high level funnel. And then it's going to give you some suggestions on how it should look like. In my case, ChatGPT already has my previous history. I use it for, other ads as well. I create ads with ChatGPT. I create ad copy with ChatGPT. So it already knows what I'm doing. So I just explain to it that, hey, I'm just looking to build a new funnel and I need the website copy. So let's type something. All right, so I'm going to share my experiences on the landing page. So maybe it's going to say I already spent $5 million on ads as some social proof. The main goal is to get the website visitors to book a free consultation. So let's have a CTA button for this. And then we need a landing page layout plan, a full landing page copy, and any other advices because maybe we are missing something. So let's send the text and let's see what we get. So here's the landing page layout plan. It gives some advice to have above the fold, have the clear positioning headline, the problem awareness. We need to call out the target audience. And now we have the full landing page copy. So for example, the headline can be, I help businesses scale with meta ads, systems and execution that actually works. You can take it and use it as is, or you can tweak it for your offer. Specifically, you can keep the conversation with the AI, but I think it's really great to just give you an idea on what you should use. For now, in this example, to speed up the process, I'm just going to copy and paste it as is. And then we are just going to take the subheadline. As I said, I manage millions in ad spend. Yes, it's correct. So let's paste. And then we have the call to action button. It says, let's use book a free strategy call. So we are going to update. I just leave it as is. This is good. And then under the CTA, we can add some credibility. So let's click the plus icon and then let's do a subheadline. And then let's just paste. And then you'll see it's too close to the button. So this is where you can click into the subheadline, go to styles and add some margins between the two. So if I change it to 20, you see it added some space. I think it looks cleaner. So let's leave it as is. And then by the way, I also have a landing page guide or a branding guide. So all my font is Poppins. So you can click on typography at the top and you can change it to your font. For me, I just change it to Poppins, and then the content content font is also Poppins. Okay. You can also change the text color, so all the text color is going to be the same. I'll leave it as is, it's fine. And let's turn autosave on, so we don't need to manually save all the time. Let's go back to the AI, and then let's go to the problem section. So this is where we are calling out the target audience. So we have some bullet points. So let's look for this. Let's see if any of the sections have bullet points. So let's scroll down. Let's look for the bullet points. It doesn't have bullet points, so we can add some on our own. We can go to add elements, and then let's look for the previous sections. And then let's look at what we have. So we have the call to action. We have the for who, which is just who is this perfect for. We have a list that we can use. So I think this is going to be great. Actually, let's pull this. Let's drag and drop. So we have it here. This section is a bit long. This empty part at the bottom. You see we have a 400 margin. We don't need it as long. So let's change it to just 40. And now it's much cleaner. So now we can update the headline. And then we can update the messaging as well. We can just paste as a simple text. And then we can just copy and paste. So this is for our target audience. Let's just copy and paste as a simple text. So it's going to keep the check mark. Copy and paste. So exactly we have 4 points, just like the template. You can also send screenshots of the template, and then the AI is going to design your messaging based on that. Something I want to change is I want to change it to only have 2 lines, like the other 3. So let's see what we can remove. The meta ads is great to have for the SEO purposes, but let's delete meta to probably make this shorter. And let's change it to, but don't know how. And then it's good. Don't worry, we can help. And then we can update this with the following text. And then we can actually copy and paste this button. Let's click on clone. And then once we have the new button, we can also move it to here. Yes. Actually, let's move. Let's move it right under the text. Yes. Actually, let's make it even better. Let's click the plus icon, select the button, and then move it inside. Delete this button, and then delete this section. So we can keep building out the rest. So for example, I'll add this one, the authority section, but I'll delete everything else. So we don't need this, don't need this, don't need this. Because we don't want a crazy long landing page. We just want them to read this and then book a free session. But let's go to the previous section and go to the about section. We'll fill this out just so we have some social proof, so we can update the image, for example. Let's click on the image. Let's go to the right side and change the image. So we need to upload an image. I have a recent image of me that I edited with AI. It's this one with the Christmas hat. So let's replace it. You can also change the style. So for example, I want to make it a square image. You need to go to styles, image radius, and then change it to a circle. I think it looks a bit cleaner. And now we are going to update the text on the left side. So meet the founder and CEO. I guess we can leave that. And then we can just update the text. And then remove all this. Okay, so we have the very basic landing page ready. We can click on the eye icon and then do a preview. So this is how it's going to look like. It's not fully saved yet because it has the headline updated, but not the rest. So let's maybe reload. And now it's correct. So we can book the free session. We have the bullet points calling out the perfect target audience. And then here's the introduction. Now we need to make sure that the button, so let's click on the buttons. Let's go to general and then make sure it's going to the next step. And then again, let's change it to go to the next step. And what people always miss is they don't check the mobile mode. So we have to make sure the mobile layout also looks great. But this is fine. And the reason why we change it to next step, I'll show you in a second. So we have to go back. And then we have a next step here that you see. So this is the next step. So this is going to be the booking page. So let's edit it. Let's go inside and edit. And let's also send the AI to make the landing page copy for the booking page, because this is where we are going to have the calendar. So we just have to delete everything again because it's too long. And we just have to add a calendar. So let's go to pre-built sections. Let's save the sections. And then click on the plus icon, search for calendar. And then let's add the calendar. So we already have a calendar built. So once we go inside, you can select the free consultation that we just built earlier. And then it's going to show that. Now we need to add a headline above the calendar. And then this is where we are going to use the AI copy. So book your free strategy call. We are going to add a subheadline. And then we have the calendar here where they can book a call. So now it's saving. You see it just saved now. We have the auto save turned on. So we can go back. And the funnel is basically ready. You can still use some other changes. For example, you can optimize for SEO. You can add an FAQ section, but that's some more detailed stuff. We are not going to go into that in this call. We just need to make sure we have a domain added. So previously we purchased a domain. So let's see if it's already here. So you see I'm under sites. It doesn't find my domain. So let's go to settings and then let's go to domains. So here's my domain. Here's the domain that we purchased. And the next step you see after setting up the funnel is adding the domain. So we have to go to the settings, domains, and then go to manage domain. And then we can connect a product. So this is where we can connect a funnel that we just created. Let's click connect. the domain is correct. And then yes, we also want to redirect www traffic to my main website. So let's continue. It's going to finish setting up the domain. And then we can select which domain we want to add. So we can add the records. This is just on the backend, on the DNS side of the records. If you don't host your domain inside GoHighLevel, then you have to do it manually. For example, a hoster that I use is Cloudflare. And then you have to add it inside the DNS settings. But now GoHighLevel is going to handle it for you. It has some issues. So let's see how we can troubleshoot. Maybe let's try reloading this part. Let's go back and refresh. So here's my Cloudflare. Okay, so we have the domain active. Let's go to manage again. So here are the DNS records that I'm talking about. Here you can add the DNS record yourself. And then here are the advanced settings. Let's go and connect a product again. So we want to connect a funnel. Yes, this is the domain. Yes. Let's set it up. And then if we run into the same issue, we can add the records manually. So let's add the records. And then here is where we can link a domain with the funnel. So we just had to refresh. Now we can select the funnel. So we created the software platform. That's the name of the funnel because we haven't renamed it yet. And then we can set a default step for this domain, which is going to be the first step, not the thank you page, but the landing page. And then we can proceed to finish. And then we are already at step 6. So we are going to finish in a bit. Now comes the easy part that we finished building the site and the funnel. And now we can see we have a connected product. Really nice. We have a redirect as well. And it's used inside one funnel. So all great. Now go back and go to sites again. And now we can rename the funnel just to make sure we know what's happening here. So go inside the funnel. Let's go to settings and then rename it to funnel or free consultation. Free consult. Let's save. And then we can rename each step. So for this, you have to be on the first step, go to publishing, and then name it to free consult because that's the first step. And then for the step URL, let's just leave it empty because we don't want it to go to a specific URL. We want it to be the home page. So it's just going to be on the matejunyor.com. Now go to the thank you page. And then we are going to rename it to booking because they actually book here. And then the URL is going to be book. Yeah, just booking is going to be the same. So let's update. And then we are going to test it live. So let's see if it loads and everything works great. So we have the free consult. Let's see. matejunyor.com. And then yes, we just created a website. We have the intro section, we have the buttons, and then let's see if you click the button. Does it go to the next step? Yes. So it goes to the booking page. It goes to the thank you page. Now it looks like that this was not quite saved. So that's why you always need to review. Let's check it manually. So if I go to the booking page and if I edit, Was it really not saved? Let's see. No, we have it. We have your book, your free strategy call, and we have the calendar. So let's do a preview again. And now it looks great. So we have the calendar open. You see, we can select a time, and then everything looks great. Now we want to move on to the next step, which is going to be creating a pipeline. So again, let's go back to high level. And then on the left side, you'll have opportunities. You need to go into pipeline. And then this is going to be where you collect your leads. So you already have an example pipeline, but we are going to create a new one, create pipeline. And then we are going to name it free consultation. And then we can select how many steps the pipeline is going to have. The first stage is going to be booked a call, and then we are just going to keep it simple. There are going to be two other steps. One is a closed lead, and the other one is going to be didn't qualify. So did not qualify, or we can just use customer, and we can just create the pipeline. And I'll show you why it's important in a second. I'll just delete the marketing pipeline because we don't need to use it now. And now that we have the pipeline, we are going to create some basic automations. So for this, let's go to automation. And then we are going to create a workflow. Basically, we are going to start from scratch because it's going to be a super simple automation. Because if you remember, inside the calendar, we already set up the automated emails that is going to remind you of the upcoming calls. So now we again enable autosave inside. And then to start a workflow, we are going to name it free consultation. And then we are going to add a trigger, which is going to be a call booked. So let's see. Let's scroll through. It's going to be customer booked appointment. That's going to be the trigger. So once it happens, we are going to start this automation. So we can add filters that we are specifically looking inside the calendar free consultation. Let's save the trigger. And then what's going to happen once they book a call is we want to create a contact. Let's save the action. And then we want to have the fields. No, actually we don't need the create contact. We want to update the opportunity. So let's search for opportunity. And then we are going to create an opportunity inside the free consultation pipeline under booked call. So whenever someone books a call, they are going to move inside the pipeline that we just created a minute ago. And then you can add some other steps. For example, you can add a send email so you get an internal notification like, hey, someone just booked a call, make sure to call them and follow up. And you have endless opportunities inside, but this call is not long enough to go over all of that. So let's just make sure we publish and save. All right, now we have step 8 ready as well. Now we are going to create a metapixel and then we are going to install it on the website. So for this, you'll have to go to business.facebook.com. And then you have to go inside settings. And then it should take you inside the business suite, which looks like this. If you already have an existing business manager, if not, I have another video on how to set it up. But basically, we have to go and we have to first make sure we are in the correct business portfolio. For me, I'm under Wupscale, which is my business. So that's good. We have to go on the left side for data sources and then look for data sets and pixels. And now we are going to add a new pixel. On the top right, we have the add option. And then we are going to name it free consult. And then I just add the domain so I know where it is. And then let's create. And then once you create a new data set, you can keep this option on. And then you can add it to an add account now. But for now, I don't want to connect. I just want to create the pixel and just have it collect data on its own. So let's just click next and then go to Events Manager to finish the full setup. And then you see I have plenty of pixels, but I need the free consultation. And then this is what you see. No data set, no activity. So first we have to set up the pixel on a website. So we are going to use gather website events from browser activity. Let's click setup metapixel. And then we are going to manually install the pixel code. So let's select the first option and then copy the code, copy the base code, step 1, and then we have to go back to GoHighLevel. Or if you have another provider, then this is where you need to search for the header code in your website. GoHighLevel makes it really easy because you just have to go into your funnel, go to settings, and then you have a head tracking code where you can just paste, and then it's going to track across your funnel, across all the steps. So you just need to copy and paste, and then make sure to save, really important. And now let's go back to Events Manager. We pasted the code to the website, added to the head tracking. So we also saved the website code changes so we can continue. I recommend you turn on automatic advanced matching. So it's going to collect as many information as possible. And since everything's turned on, we can go and click on done. And then everything should be ready at this point. So it's super fresh. It needs some time to activate, but we are going to test the events and then make sure everything's working. So the last step, we already connected the metapixel. Now we just need to test and make sure everything's working. So before we do the test, I'll give some time for the pixel to be, correctly installed. So first I'll go back to calendar and then make sure everything's set correctly. So let's go to the calendar settings. Let's make sure the availability is again correct. So time zone, yes. I'm using an LA time zone. And then it's active inside one calendar. That's correct. And then something I want to change is I want to change how long into the future they can book a call, because I don't want to receive, booked calls 2 weeks from now. So what you can do is a date range of 7 days into the future. And I'll show you what it does. So let's hit save and then go to matehunyor.com. And then once we click on book your free session, it's still not showing correctly for some reason. So let's go back to GoHighLevel. Let's go to sites. And then again, take a look at the booking page. Let's hit edit. And then let's do a preview inside. So now you see here, it looks great. I want to do a preview. and they are able to book 7 days into the future. Now, if you remember earlier, there was an option to book for even end of the month. Now, only 1 week in advance, and we are using the time zones that I adjusted. So for example, you remember for next Monday, I only added a couple of time slots, so it's reflecting all the changes. So let's make sure again to publish this page. And then let's take a look at the URL. Now it looks great. So let's go back and test again. Let's take the URL from the first step, copy and paste, and then let's see how it works. So book your free session. Now let's see again if it's working. Yes, now finally it works. So book your free strategy call, only 7 days into the future. So everything looks great. Now the last step is we'll actually book a call and then make sure all the automations are working. So let's go back. It's best to do inside the events manager because you see it's already tracking the data. So if I go to the pixel, refresh, let's go to test events, and then let's clear activity and then start again. So confirm your website events are set up correctly. We'll enter the website URL and then click test events. So now this should be tracking a page view because I'm visiting the page. Let's go back to the events manager, and then we can see that the page view is being tracked correctly. Let's go to the next step, book your free session. And then we can see that it tagged the subscribe button link and again a new page view since we are on a new page. So far, so good. Now, something before we continue is go to the settings and then make sure to copy the dataset ID, go back to high level, go back to your calendar, and then have the pixel ID inside your calendar. So select your calendar, edit, and then scroll down. I think, where is it? So it's under forms and payments. You can paste the pixel ID that you just pasted, that you just copied from the events manager. So copy this dataset ID, go to your calendar, and then paste under meta pixel ID. Then save to make sure it's tracking correctly. And now we can go back to the testing. So we are going to book a call, let's say for next Thursday at 8 p.m. So let's select the time. Now we have the questionnaire that we set earlier. So I'm actually going to use my personal information. And yeah, I'll confirm that they can send the marketing emails to me. Let's schedule the call. And then we get an email that or a notification that your meeting has been scheduled. And then we have the option to add it to the calendar automatically. So let's go to Google Calendar, and then we are going to add it inside. And then we can see that high level actually tracked all the steps correctly. So we have the basic pixel setup. It's working. And here is where we can add the call. Now it's strange because I used my name, but let's check the email. So this is my personal email. This is the email that I booked with. So this is what your client is going to get once they book a call with you, that you have an invitation to the free consult. And then if I go to the high level sub account email, which is this one, I'll see that they also received an appointment confirmation. So now everything works great. We can review the request and then we can check the calendar as well. So let's go to the business email. And then it's already in the calendar. So let's discard this. You see, for tomorrow, I already have the meeting in my calendar. So all the automations are working. And now, if you remember, we also set up an opportunity, a pipeline. So now the new contact should be under book the call. And yes, here it is. Máté Hunyol just booked the call for December 18th. Free consultation was the source. And then after the call, you can move them to customer or did not qualify maybe. So now you can manually make those changes. But this is the very basics of building a funnel, of building a calendar, of setting up the pixel. There are more steps to this. So I'll make some more videos, but I wanted to take this time, make this live call, and hopefully make it easy for you to set up your first sub account and then to have your free automation ready, your first funnel ready in just an hour. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any other questions, just drop it in the YouTube chat. Otherwise, thanks for being here. And then we are going to end the call soon because I have to jump to another onboarding call with my free school group. I also offer a free consultation in the free school group. So if you are interested, join. There should be a link in the description. So thanks for everyone who was here today. And then see you tomorrow on the high level updates.